The boys are back! The boys are back! Let's dive into their latest release. Noise Floor by Spock's Beard. So Spock's Beard, most people know about them. Grandfather, Renaissance prog, retro prog, legends, spearheaded by Neil Morse, rejuvenized the prog scene in the mid-90s. Neil Morse then leaving the band, pulling a whole Peter Gabriel, putting out a double disc concept album with Snow, leaving the band, and the band pulling their own genesis and being like, you know what, we can continue on and continue this. They had some shaky groundwork after that, and it wasn't until their self-titled work in X really solidified their kind of new foundation of what they were going to sound like, and then they followed that up with the masterpiece that is Brief Nocturnes and Dreamless Sleep. Favorite album from the guys, hands down. The Oblivion Particle was a disappointment, and it still kind of is in my mind. Like, there are moments on that album that I still kind of enjoy. So coming into this album, I was excited. But my expectations had been lowered due to the Oblivion Particle. I should have probably lowered them a little bit more, because what we have on Noise Floor is more of the same from the band, and not necessarily in a good way. It still follows the same characteristics that a Spock's Beard album has had since Neil's departure, but it hasn't really moved the music forward as X or Brief Nocturnes did. It's still kind of wavering, and they've really shed off the big epic sound, and I can feel that the band is trying. Like, a lot of these songs on this album, I really, really feel like the band is trying really hard to make something beautiful, but their sights didn't quite line up with what they were able to grab onto. And I can tell that the boys are having fun on this album. Like, I can hear and feel the smiles that they've got on their face. When they're having fun, I'm having fun. And even that first song, To Breathe Another Day, it feels very fun. It feels very long-lasting, but it doesn't have those kicks and those pulls. And it isn't until Have We All Gone Crazy Yet that I actually start to feel like they're covering some new grounds and trying some new things. In Have We All Gone Crazy Yet, we're 4 tracks into the album at this point, and this track just feels like, again, as I was saying at the beginning, this is where I can feel like they're really trying with something different. Like, they've got a lot of like Gentle Giant feels within the instrumental works, within the mid section of this song. You've got a lot of those strange time signatures. They're using that vocalization and harmonization that a lot of past Beard albums have used, but we haven't really seen since probably Neil's departure. And the songs that come between Breathe a New Day and Have We All Gone Crazy Yet, they're just kind of serviceable. Like, I don't really remember all that much. There's not a whole lot of sticking power to them, and they both feel very subdued at times. Like, they really take their time to get going, and not necessarily in a good way. Like, the second song of What Becomes of Me, it's just a serviceable song. And the song that follows that, of Somebody's Home, it does the same kind of thing, where the groove sections are there, the fun aspect of the band is there. They're trying their hands in a little bit more of a ballad syndrome, but it doesn't quite land as I was kind of hoping that a song like this would have had. The other thing that really kind of lessens the enjoyment on these guys are most of these songs are on the shorter side. Like, they're not really too far after the 5-minute mark. So they just kind of come in, they do their thing, and then they leave without really saying too much. And with a Spock's Beard song, I come for the longer stretches of music. I come for those great build-ups, those great payoffs. And within these more bite-sized songs, it doesn't quite nourish me as much as I was hoping they would. And that's probably why I really like Have We All Gone Crazy Yet, because it is a little bit longer into more of like the 8-minute stretch, so I can stretch my legs a little bit more. And so this covers the first half of the album, and as you know with me, I like to view an album kind of in halves, so that was the first half of the album. Second half of the album is a little bit better. Like, it starts off very well with So This Is Life, and this is probably my favorite song off of the entire album, because it feels much more like they're trying new things and experimenting a little bit more with the groundwork there. It feels a lot more like a Beatles song. You can definitely feel the influences there with the harmonizations and the vocal work there. It's very melodic and very soothing in that sense as well. And what I love is the transition between the notes within this song, especially within the chorus. And that transition just feels so fluid, and it just gives me the gushes that I was hoping that more songs were doing. Because one thing that the Beard does very well is knowing when to surprise the listener by changing the note sequence just enough to keep it interesting and keep it fresh. And they did it very, very well within So This Is Life. Now, unfortunately, this is followed by one of the lower points of the album with One So Wise. It's a kind of a throwaway song. My mind goes blank whenever it comes on. It doesn't have any lasting power. It feels like they're a little bit on the stagnated side at this point, and they don't quite know where to go. And the same can kind of be said for the next song of the Box of Spiders. Like, Box of Spiders is their instrumental track on here. Whenever a instrumental track comes on, I want to hear something new. Like, I want to have a purpose for it. I need to have some kind of a catalyst, a moment that they're seeking for. And here it does feel like a Box of Spiders in that there's really no point. And I mean, art is very subjective and you kind of put your own points onto it. But in my mind, I was just thinking, like, what's the point? There's no real downside to this song. There's no real low point on this. The song is fun. They utilize a lot of their influences. Like, I feel like if they took a lot of these ideas and put them into some of the other songs on here and condensed the album a little bit more, we would have had a lot stronger of an album in that sense. And unfortunately, this song just kind of seems like an interlude or a springboard into the last song, the longest one, of Beginnings. And Beginnings is one of the better songs off of this album. This song in particular is the one that I feel like they're really trying for something great. They're trying really, really hard to recapture those moments that they did on X, on their self-titled work, on Brief Nocturnes, and they're trying. Oh, it pains me because they're trying so hard, but they just miss the mark off of this. Like, I have fun and I enjoy the song for what it is, but I feel like they just fell short, especially after all the songs that we had to listen to coming up into this point. They did split this into, disc 1, the noise floor, and disc 2, the cutting room floor. And cutting room floor is just kind of like the extras, and a lot of bands do this nowadays, just kind of like the bonus disc. And none of these songs really fit. It's kind of like seeing the deleted scenes on a movie and being like, oh yeah, that's why you cut it out. As opposed to, oh, that was really good, you should have found a way to incorporate that into the overall finalized product. But no, all 4 songs on this, Days Will Remember, Bulletproof Vault, and Armageddon Nervous, yeah, there's a reason why it didn't make it onto the actual album itself. And unfortunately, I feel like some of the songs that did make it onto the album maybe should have been strung over into the cutting room floor, just to make it more of like that 45 to 50 minute length album, so you can fit it on one physical LP, and then have the cutting room floor being more of a, I guess, EP in that sense. Although if you moved enough songs over, it would be more of a double discer. Anyway, getting ahead of myself or getting sidetracked. Overall, it followed suit what the Oblivion Particle did for me, where it was fine, but I feel like this one is a little bit lower in that in the Oblivion Particle, there was a lot of really juicy moments, and in this album, there isn't quite as many of those juicy moments. We do have 1 or 2 songs, like I said, So This Is Life, Have We All Gone Crazy, and even certain extents, Beginnings, are quite juicy and do have their own moments, but I feel like the moments that they hit on the Oblivion Particle, because, Benny Built a Time Machine, that song itself was great, and Get Out While You Can is very, very serviceable as well. So, I mean, this feels like the other side in the same vein as the Oblivion Particle. So, in that respect, if you like the Oblivion Particle, you're going to really like this. But if you're like me and you were disappointed with the Oblivion Particle, you're going to be a little bit disappointed with this as well. So, I mean, I can't really praise this album all too much. It's not one that I would start with the band. I would go back and check out X, check out V, check out Brief Nocturnes, check out Snow. Those guys will be your gateway. This is more of a continuation, it's not a bad album, so I'm not going to penalize it for being a bad album, because it's not. It's just a serviceable album. It's another Spock's Beard album. So in that sense, I gotta say, probably stream this album, give it a listen, see if it's up your jam, and then if you like it, continue on from there, but it's not one that I would probably recommend. So that's about it for the Noise Floor by Spock's Beard. Let me know of your own thoughts about this album. Did you love it? Did you hate it? How do you think it stacks up with their past works? By commenting down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.